look distinctly uncomfortable. Rod only looks away when Claude directly addresses him.
Have you given any thought to that exchange program I mentioned before, Prince Rod? Oh god, no.
Have fun!
You and you.
Your invite to stay in Brigantia and learn traditional dances. Indeed, we would love to host you.
Claude glanced at his brother.
And if you'll have him, my brother would like to extend his stay in NGL. He's interested in learning more about the foreign policies here.
I've always had a special interest in the subject.
Now this is reverse, and I don't know how I feel about this.
I forget sometimes that because Claude is the heir, his brother has more freedom than he does. The freedom, for instance, to extend visitations.
I, for one, think it's a wonderful idea.
Rod shrugs.
I'm still thinking about it.
He looks skeptically at Lance.
You're interested in foreign policy. Who would be teaching you? Not my sister, surely.
You know I don't have that kind of expertise, Rod. Lance smiles.
You should not underplay your talents, Princess Emmeline. Your Angiel history lessons are always enlightening.
Oh, thank you. If Rod were a witch, I'd have no doubt.
Subtle.
If Rod were a witch, I'd have no doubt he set Lance on fire with just a scowl. Before the situation become more heated, Chevalier clears his throat.
If Princess Emmeline is not up to the task, then I humbly volunteer to educate the prince about Angiel's politics.
He winks at me.
The princess can vouch for me. I'm an excellent teacher, aren't I?
Hold on. Wait a second.
I
Oh,
feel
no,
like flirting. I
second one
feel
there.
like flirting's the safer option because if we
his
go,
lessons in anatomy when he taught her how to kill a man.
because I feel like if we went with anatomy,
where I went.
Rod is gonna probably want to set him on fire too. So I think we should go flirting. So does
Yes.
Connor apparently.
I also like the idea of him. It's like, remember, there was a time he taught me how to kill a man because he's a doctor. Just Rod taking notes.
Oh, see, that's not where I went.
That'd be kind of.
And I also kind of forgot about that, so thank you for the reminder.
I will
Anatomy is
never
less weird now.
I will never forget about Chevalier literally having a conversation, teaching her how to
Go for
how
the
to kill a man.
throat. Dies via chest. Alright.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, yeah.
I am all about the flirting.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Flirting. Abby, are you
I'm
flirting?
I'm always for flirting.
Alright.
Whoa.
It's unanimous.
Wow.
You try to teach me how to flirt because you were convinced it would help me be quote unquote good. Chevalier looks horrified.
Oh no. Princess, I just lost my memory.
What kind of excuse is that? As if anyone would need less than that. I don't know, apparently Rod does.
Rod, do I need to remind you of 2 years ago? No, I'm kidding. Emmeline leans towards me. Were they at least helpful lessons?
Poor sweet innocent girl.
No.
Princess!
Father chuckles.
I can't speak for his other lessons, but Chevalier and I have had very insightful conversations about politics.
Just think if he was teaching the king how to flirt. Oh my god!
And that's all I'm saying on the subject.
Only politics, nothing else.
It's true. The very least, Father seems to enjoy discussing politics with Chevalier over breakfast. He has said before that he believes Chevalier provides a unique, more personal perspective in such issues, having been directly impacted by them before.
It would be an honor to learn from a man as well learned as you, Sir Chevalier. And it would be my honor to assist you, Your Highness.
I scrape absently at my plate with my fork as the conversation continues. I expect to leave the dining hall with Chevalier once the meal is cleared, but am surprised when Claude requests his company.
I want to talk to you about Lance's so-called instructions.
Oh, how brotherly of you.
Chevalier leans over to plant a kiss on my cheek.
I'll be back in a bit, my sweet princess. Wait for me.
I wasn't expecting it, but now I have time to finish that scarf. I have
That's a
nowhere
good
else to be, Chev. Take your time. Please, please take your time. I nod. It'll be good for him. Maybe Claude could give him some advice on how to interact with the nobles.
I shall look forward to seeing your beautiful smile again, sweet Lucette.
That was nowhere near what my brain processed those words as. Oh.
I love that man so much.
Me and Claude departed, followed shortly by Emmeline and Lance. Rod remains, looking moodily at his plate while Ophelia discusses the exchange program with him. No reason to stay, I curtsy and excuse myself from the hall. I waste no time in resuming work on the scarf. For the first time in a long time, I'm completely focused. The motion of the needle and the thread becomes hypnotic, my fingers moving without any thought. The embellishments take less time than I anticipate, and, before I realize it, the scarf lays finished on my desk. I run my fingers over the stitches. They're nowhere near as precise as Bria's, and yet, it's not that bad. I lay a scarf on my lap with a smile. Finally, I can give Chevalier something nice. Time passes slowly without Chevalier there. In the silence, I find myself remembering the conversation I had with Ophelia. She said the best way to help Chevalier was to support him without standing up for him. I immediately think of the scarf. Tonight might be a good time to give it to him, just to show him that I'm always thinking of him. I cannot help my sudden nerves. He wore Bria's scarf every day. What if he doesn't think mine is worth that? I struggle so badly at the knock I almost fall off my bed.
Permission to come in, my lovely princess?
I take a deep breath as I fold the scarf on my lap. Come in. The door opens and Chevalier slides inside with a bright smile.
Finally, I have returned, and just in time. One more hour away from you, and I would have certainly withered away. But,
He pauses.
Princess, you're stiff as a board. Are you okay?
I realize how tense I am and try to force myself to relax. I'm fine. How was your talk with Claude?
It's good. A lot of catching up.
He narrows his eyes.
Are you sure you're all right?
With his eyes trained so completely on my face, he doesn't even notice the scarf. As he leans in to brush a strand of hair off my forehead, I seize my chance. I lean up to wrap the scarf around his neck.
Look at you! Oh, that's kind of nice!
Chevalier freezes. I become aware of the way we're standing, me with my hands on his chest, him with his fingers wrapped around one of my wrists.
What is this?
He reaches up and touches the scarf around his neck.
Lucette, is this...
You said you needed a new scarf, so I made you one.
This for me?
Chevalier runs his fingers across the pattern in awe. And then he smiles, so brightly it makes me smile too.
Lucette, this is the most spectacular gift I've ever received.
He proclaims so softly, so sincerely, it makes my stomach leap into my throat.
I'm
There's no need for you to exaggerate.
It is no exaggeration. This is stunning work. And the fact that you made it for me.
He shakes his head.
Hey!
Nice.
I will treasure
Oh,
it.
thank God, it's complete now.
He pulls me closer and tips my chin up.
I will never take this off. Please take it off and wash it.
Please take it off when you take a shower. That would be foolish. You should take it off. Silly, and yet that proclamation brings me so much joy. I act without thinking, rising up to the tips of my toes to give Chevalier a kiss. He cups my face and kisses me back, a deep kiss that makes me feel both buoyant and grounded, and that makes electricity shoot my veins down to the soles of my feet. It's a kiss that leaves me breathless. When I pull away, Chevalier has such a soft smile on his face that I can't help but kiss him again, once, twice, 3 times on his lips.
What did I do to deserve you, princess?
You offered me the right amount of lily-shaped chocolates, apparently. Chevalier laughs.
I hope you're prepared for me to shower you with baked goods for the rest of your life, then.
The moment he says the words, he freezes, suddenly looking sheepish. The rest of your life, he said. A bold promise, one that makes my heart soar. Chevalier looks nervous, as if he's worried he's overstepped his boundaries.
That is... if you'll have me.
Thank you, Chev. Chevalier's a flatterer, but that's just who he is. He's never failed to make me feel special for just being myself.
No, Lucette. Thank you.
He sets his hand on his scarf.
For everything. With this new scarf, I am undefeatable. That's my new favorite line in this entire game. More so, even, because I've come up with a plan to get on everyone's good side here at the palace.
A plan? Chevalier plops himself down on my bed.
You'll... I don't want to spoil anything just yet.
I settle myself beside him, close enough I can tuck myself into his side. He wraps an arm around my shoulders and smiles. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll work. If there's anyone who can befriend a stubborn noble, it's you.
I get it. Such praise coming from the most lovable princess in all of Angiel.
You really will say anything to get on my good side, won't you? I shove him playfully in the shoulder. It's nothing but a light touch, but Chevalier topples to the bed. He grins as I lean over him.
Never. I only speak the truth.
Is that so? When I attempt to kiss him on the cheek, he turns his face and my lips find his mouth instead.
Puzzle.
His smile is coy, almost challenging. I don't bother retorting with words, instead responding with another kiss.
This is a...
So much kissing. So many kisses that I soon lose count. Nothing matters but the softness of Chevalier's lips and the warmth of his embrace. I think in the end, I may be the one to fall asleep first, tucked in the Chevalier's side, my face pressed against his neck. I feel myself drifting. His scarf is wrapped around the both of us, softer and cozier than any blanket. For the first time in a long time, I fall asleep content. Chapter 5, The Merrymaker.
Oh, Jesus! What a brilliant day! The sun is shining and the town is full of laughter and we'd really like to finish hanging this banner. Now will you hurry up? You're as prickly as ever, tiny lord.
Chevalier looks up at Waltz, who's crouched on a wooden beam above the stage, waiting for Chevalier to hand him the other end of the banner. The three of them are hanging the most central spring festival decoration, a banner signed by many of the townsfolk. It was just yesterday that Emily and Anise oversaw its creation. The day before that, Chevalier and I set various floral arrangements around town, while workers hired by the palace set up stalls around town. Every day has been filled with errands like this. I return to the palace so exhausted I barely make it to bed before I fall asleep. But it's worth it. Chevalier throws the banner up to Waltz, who began nailing it to the beam.
And got it.
Chevalier gestures dramatically.
Citizens of Angiel, behold, our beautiful spring festival banner.
The crowd ripples with excitement, cheering and whistling as Chevalier steps down. It's a rather impressive banner, filled with so many colors and signatures it's impossible to make out any coherent design. I suppose it has a sort of chaotic charm to it, though. I hear the banner was your idea? Ah, okay. We're just gonna always assume it's Fritz, I guess.
Apparently that's his job.
Honestly, apparently.
We should have picked it up because Varg did it so many times last game. Alright.
That's true.
Fritz appears beside me. Though he's here as security, he seems at ease, relaxed. It's a small thing.
I imagine the citizens would disagree with you.
The two of us watch as Waltz floats back down the stage using his magic. He snaps his fingers, causing confetti to rain down from the sky. The audience applauds again. Why are you looking at me like that?
It's nothing. I was just thinking that I'm glad to get to see you smile again. Smile like this. I can read. When I first met you, I thought you always looked so sad. I wanted so badly to make you smile. Not being able to made me feel incompetent.
Fritz, you can never be incompetent. The reason I was the way I was, it was because of Mother. I can't acknowledge that now, even if it still hurts. Fritz smiles.
It helps leaving the palace all those years ago, didn't it?
I hate to give Delora any credit, but it did. I didn't realize the emptiness in my life stemmed from loneliness until Chevalier taught me the value of connecting with others.
I'm glad you and Sir Chevalier found each other.
I am too, and I'm glad you found your way back here too, Fritz.
I owe it to you that I'm here, Princess.
He glances one more time at the makeshift stage before turning to the crowd.
I'm on duty now, but I'll see you around.
Of course. Take care, Fritz.
And you as well, Princess.
With one last bow, Fritz disappears into the crowd. The moment he leaves, I notice two familiar faces pushing towards me. Lisette, we've been looking for you. Abby?
We were surprised not to see you on stage.
It's been a busy morning, but neither of them looks worse for wear. I decided I'd let Chevalier and Waltz do the honors. Maybe if we were using magic to hang things. Oh, I've never seen you use your magic for convenience before.
After being forced to clean with Mr. Broom, Lisette said she didn't want to charm objects.
Only room for one charm in your life.
And my opinion hasn't changed. I'm never commanding an object to do my bidding, and the last thing I need is another overbearing sentient object in my life.
You only need one.
Anise laughs.
Mr. Broom would be heartbroken if it heard you say that, Princess. He really misses you.
I really do.
Well, I don't miss Mr. Broom. Most times I do wonder sometimes if I ought to bring Mr. Broom to the palace.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she totally should!
Yes.
For nostalgia's sake, nothing more.
Bullshit.
Where are the Burgundian princes? Weren't they with you two earlier? Oh, we lost them. Anise laughs.
Or rather, we left them. I doubt they even noticed. They were in the middle of an argument.
It's things like this that makes me glad I grew up with an only child. That sounds like them. And Rod? He's mediating, or trying to.
It wasn't going too well, so Emmeline and I decided to leave and find you.
I'm gonna guess that's Rod.
A wise decision, I'd say.
No, it's Chevalier.
No.
Okay.
Fuck!
Wise decision, I'd say.
I whirl around to find
No.
Chevalier standing by my
I would
side.
never say that.
Good afternoon, ladies.
He leans down to plant a kiss on my hand. Or head.
Good afternoon, my beautiful queen.
Back to calling me queen, I see. I sigh, but I can't help to smile on my face. Thank you for the hard work, Chev.
It is, as always, an honor to serve, sweet Lucette.
We all glance back at the stage where Waltz and Senna are performing impromptu magic for the still gathered crowd.
So, this marks the beginning of the Spring Festival, then?
Just about. The royal family will be giving speeches tomorrow. Then the celebrations will officially start. Emmeline looks at me hopefully. Want to practice our speeches tonight, Lisette? If you don't mind practicing after my magic lesson, then I do not mind.
You must be so exhausted, Princess. I hope you're taking care of yourself.
Anise fidgets.
If you need anything to help with fatigue, I might have a few things on my shelves.
Undoubtedly, you always have exactly what everyone needs, Lady Anise. I have to thank you for gathering those remedies for me on such short notice, too.
I give him a quizzical look. Chevalier smiles and shrugs. Is there a reason you're not telling me who they're for?
It's a surprise. Ding.
Fine, but I expect you to tell me later.
Your wish is my command, beautiful Lucette. I fucking love this man.
Speaking of commands, Emmeline tilts her head. Are there not council meetings happening today? Emmeline is right. There is one last meeting before the festivity. The festivities start tomorrow. Today is, thankfully, the last day we discuss taxes. I stifle a sigh. You're right, I should make my way over there.
Allow me to escort you, lovely princess. I've barely seen you all morning.
If you insist. I turn to Anise and Emmeline. Will you two be alright here without me? Of course, I'll see you at the palace, Lucette.
Have a good meeting, Lucette. I'll see you tomorrow.
After saying our goodbyes, Chevalier and I depart. Chevalier accompanies me back to the palace. I expect him to turn back at the gates, but he follows me through the corridors. Chev?
Yes?
Is there a reason you're still following me?
I said I would escort you.
I step in front of the throne room doors. Well, you have. We're here.
Let's go in, shall we?
Chevalier opens the doors before I could protest. Most of the counselors are already seated, though the meeting has yet to begin. All eyes land on us as we enter.
Good afternoon, Lord Councilors. I am humbled to be in your presence.
My father, who's sitting at the head of the table, looks up and smiles.
Mother boy. It is good to have you here, Sir Chevalier.
Jurian and Garland, who are sitting on either side of him, look equally as unsurprised to see Chevalier. Long time no talk.
Good to see you again, Sir Chevalier. The Honorable Knights of Caldera. No, it is my pleasure.
Chevalier makes his way over to the table. Baffled, I trail behind him. When we are seated, I turn to him and hiss beneath my breath.
Yeah.
What is happening?
You remember that discussion about politics we had with the princes the other day?
I nod.
Well, later that night, His Majesty thoughtfully extended an invitation to sit in on a council meeting. I couldn't refuse him.
Let me guess, you did not tell me any of this because you like surprises? Chevalier beams at me.
Right on the nose, princess.
Like half the fun.
I wanted to surprise you by showing up as an unexpected advocate.
While I appreciate the support, many of these counselors are Chevalier's patients. They're already critical of him. How will they receive him when he's out of his element? Eventually, when the chamber is filled, my father stands and announces the start of the session.
Good afternoon, lords and ladies. For the last few weeks, we've been discussing raising taxes. Today, I call you here for one final discussion.
The heated talks resume immediately. I spare a glance at Chevalier, who is watching the proceedings quietly. It's only after one counselor makes the point that higher taxes will allow us to invest in more expensive anemones and healthcare that he shifts in his seat, looking suddenly discontented. Chevalier has always been adamant about making things affordable for others. I think we should encourage him to speak.
Encourage him, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because, again, don't let him hide. Don't make it look like he's hiding behind her.
Yeah, because he obviously doesn't want you to shield. Yeah, that's immediately majority, so... Alright. Leaning close to whisper in his ear. You ought to share your opinion. I know you have one.
I...
The king king would not have invited you here if he did not want you to participate. Chevalier shifts to address my father.
Permission to speak, Your Majesty. Please, Sir Chevalier.
Chevalier argues that increasing taxes to invest in more expensive anemones will only affect that if their prices are lower so they were affordable to others.
Taxes might be helpful if we considered subsidization.
Chevalier makes the topic a more multifaceted one. Having been directly impacted by such decisions, he has a more immediate understanding of how they affect the common citizens. The table is quiet after he speaks, but it is, much to my relief, not a hostile silence.
Well said, Sir Chevalier. There is little use in forcing the citizens to pay more for anemones they will not be able to afford. But if we were to lower prices...
The discussion continues in a more productive tangent. Chevalier leans towards me and speaks in a near whisper.
Thank you, Princess.
For what?
You know what for.
He squeezes my hand under the table. Chevalier is always prioritizing listening, but he needs to learn to speak up too. If I can be the one to teach him that, I will be content. Eventually, the conversation draws to a close, and Father declares that taxes will not be raised. However, our talk has merely brought up many new issues that will need to be discussed in more detail, namely, the accessibility of healthcare. It should be a complicated discussion, but promises to be a fruitful one. When the meeting finally draws to a close, Chevalier deflates in his chair.
I am in awe that you do this nearly every day, Princess.
You become accustomed to it. But you did very well for your first time.
Really? I feel like I might have rambled.
You brought up very important issues.
Oh, now he feels like he rambled. Okay. You give me too much credit. You're the wise, fearless one who always speaks her mind.
And today, that was you. I'm proud of you, Chev. Chevalier's responding smile is tired but grateful, and it warms my heart.
Sir Chevalier.
I'm surprised one of the counselors wanders over to us.
Wearing the same basic bitch-ass shirt as a commoner. Ah, Lord Rem.
If Chevalier knows him, then Lord Rem must be one of his patients. I prepare myself for a barb, but Lord Rem just smiles.
You were brilliant today.
He clears his throat.
I wanted to apologize for mistrusting you. The medication you prescribed was a miracle. It's only been a couple of days and I feel significantly less exhausted.
The remedy. I'm relieved to hear it. I thought it might be easier on your body.
Herbal remedy. Is that what Chevalier and Anise were discussing earlier?
You thought correctly. I apologize for doubting you. I assumed the remedies you recommended were backwater substitutions.
Just because something is more expensive, that does not make it the superior solution.
So I'm learning. Thank you, Sir Chevalier. I look forward to my follow-up visit.
Lord Rem gives a formal nod before walking away. I turn to Chevalier. So the medication you did in town the other day.
I was dropping by Anise's pharmacy, yes. I thought the best way to prove I knew my practice was to show it, so I recommended more natural cures and remedies.
I think maybe you found your path to acceptance.
I hope so, Princess.
One of the counselors has cleared out of the room. We are approached by Jurgen and Garland. You handled yourself well in there, Chevalier.
That's high praise coming from the ever-collected commander of Caldera.
Garland smiles.
She's ever-collected, isn't she? Except for when flowers and compliments are involved. It's like he wants to get punched.
Lan, we're not talking about that here.
Oh, what is this about flowers?
It's nothing.
Is it?
It's official knight's business?
The two speak at the same time. Julian shoots Garland a look. He just responds with a sheepish smile. I clear my throat. Will you two be attending the festival?
Of course, when we get the time off.
Well, Garland said, we would never miss the festivities.
I'm sure going out together during the festival would make for an excellent date.
She's gonna start blushing again, I bet.
Subtlety.
This is not a date.
No, that
It
attitude.
takes an effort to keep myself from laughing. Julian can assist all she likes, but it's no secret she and Garland spend every moment of their free time together. Our conversation with the knights is cut short when Father calls on them to discuss palace security. After saying our goodbyes, Chevalier and I excuse ourselves. The day is full of pre-celebration preparations. Emmeline returns with the three princes, and together we discuss the week's planned festivities. Eventually, day bleeds in the night. I find myself walking down the corridor with Chevalier, who's insisted on accompanying me to magic practice. Last time he sat in on the practice, he cheered so ceaselessly, Delora threw him out. Hopefully we don't have to repeat of that incident. The two of us make our way to the usual spot. I sense the buildup of a spell as soon as we step through the trees, readying my own shield in defense. Laura's ice shoots towards my barrier and harmlessly shatters against it. Hello, Delora.
Good evening, Your Highness.
She raises an eyebrow at Chevalier.
Hello, Casanova.
Lady Delora, such a tranquil night, isn't it?
I hope you don't plan on ruining it with all your
I know.
chattering. Is it
I
the
know who
little-
it is.
The little dude.
I know.
The
Yep.
little dude. The voice is familiar, but I'm still shocked to see sitting in the shadows at the edge of the clearing, watching us.
Tiny Lord, what a pleasant surprise. It's been a while. I just saw you this morning.
Senna stands and steps towards us.
Hello, Princess Lucette.
Hello, Senna. I eye him suspiciously. Are you here to criticize my magic? Senna doesn't respond immediately. He crosses his arms and looks away, mouth pulled into a taunt frown.
Got your tongue, Cinnamon?
I was just thinking.
Senna looks up.
I was thinking about how it might be beneficial to train together.
Delora grins.
I'd appreciate being given credit for my ideas, Cinna.
Senna grumbles.
You may have mentioned it before.
Why would you want to train with me?
Well, I was thinking about how Hilda and Faye grew up friends but became distant over time. And I was thinking that perhaps if Faye had not left Hilda alone in the dark for so long, the war wouldn't have happened. Perhaps if they'd remained close, things would have ended better. I do believe he's asking to be your friend, Princess. I am here to train, not make friends.
Sure you are. I suppose we can train together, for practical reasons. Oop, thank you for the follow. Delora snorts.
You two really are cut from the same cloth. But enough banter. Let's get this show on the road.
Chevalier seats himself on the tree stump as we begin our lesson. Oh, okay. Stretch time. Everybody stretch! Someone redeem feathers for stretching. Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, I just cracked my back. Alright. Chevalier seats himself on the tree stump as we begin our lesson. It's strange to practice side by side with a fairy. When I was first learning, I used to practice with waltz, but this is not like that at all. With Cinna, it feels less like a lesson and more like a balancing act. When he first came to Angiel, I was convinced we would never get along, but
Princess, watch out!
I glanced down in time to see a root break through the ground. I burnt to cinders before it can wrap around my foot.
That's cheating, Delora.
All's fair during magic lessons.
Now, maybe, I think Cinna and I are finally growing closer. We continue our lesson for the next hour, only stopping when Delora calls an end.
All right, that's where we end tonight, kids. I don't want to exhaust you the day before your performance.
Me? Exhausted? Never.
Cinna crosses his arms, but does little to hide the rapid rise and fall of his chest.
I could have gone on for another hour.
Sure. Then let's pretend this is my breaking point.
She turns toward me.
Good job tonight, Lucette. You and Cinna work well together.
I agree. You're very talented, tiny lord.
Cinna smirks.
I am, aren't I?
He glances at me.
You're not bad either, princess.
Not bad is the high praise coming from you, Lucius Bearer. Delora claps her hands.
All right, time to wrap things up. We'll see you tomorrow, Lucette. Chevalier.
You got
I
this.
can't do it.
Chevalier.
Bane of your existence, the French.
I was doing so well. Chevalier.
The Duolingo owl is gonna come visit you in your dreams tonight to teach you French.
The bane of your existence, the French.
Omelette du fromage.
After
I mean,
packing
they're
up,
also their own bane, so, you know.
Yeah. After packing up her supplies and bidding us one final goodbye, Delora heads in the opposite direction towards the tavern. Cinna does not follow. He stands in the middle of the clearing, suddenly looking indecisive.
I have a question for you. A question. It's about my cousin. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were both there when Faye passed away, right?
Beside me, Chevalier inhales sharply. Unthinkingly, I reach out to squeeze his hand. That's correct. Why? Cinna shuffles on his feet.
I didn't know Faye very well. Most of my correspondence with her was through letters, but the letters were rare. I think it was because she wanted to hide my identity during the war. I used to hate her for keeping me in the dark.
Cinna curls his fingers in a fist.
Used to think she thought I was incompetent. When she died, I came to Angiel to prove that wasn't true. I told myself I wouldn't make the same mistakes she did. Told myself I would be decisive, that I wouldn't let the Lucius lure me into a false sense of calm.
Cinna's shoulders slump.
I have no idea who I'm trying to prove myself to anymore, now that Faye is gone. Can't even compete with her memory because I barely knew her.
Cinna's eyes flick up towards us.
Laura told me she died protecting you from a cruel witch, Lucette.
He looks at Chevalier, who deflates beneath his gaze.
And she said you tried to save her. Delora won't tell me about her final moments, though. I don't want to press her, but... You want to know what Parfait was like in the end? Yes.
Chevalier's grip on my hands is heartbreakingly tight. I'd say I think we should answer. Because it might be more meaningful coming from us versus Chevalier.
is a tough choice.
I think that Lucette should answer.
Okay, so that's 2 for
Yeah.
that one.
It kind of does
For me.
make more sense, I guess. And he didn't ask specifically from Chevalier, so he didn't put him on the spot. If he had put him on the spot, I would have said the bottom one, but this is going to turn into, oh, you didn't let him speak up for himself.
Well, it's too bad because you know what? I'm the other bear. Also, posture check. Everyone, make sure you're not slouching. Let's go. Back straight. Let's do this.
My posture is always fantastic.
You literally
Well-
said that as I leaned forward.
Well, fuck you. No leaning forward.
My
Fine.
posture is always fantastic.
You're the one who redeemed it, and I'm pretty sure you're lying through your teeth. Alright.
I would never.
Answer Senna's question.
I can't speak in Comic Sans. I'm sorry.
You're back! Connor, will you slouch too much? Alright, this is a difficult subject for Chevalier. He was even closer to Parfait than I was. Oh no, now I regret picking that.
Yeah,
I kind
I
of
told
forgot
you.
about that. I kind of forgot.
You should don't speak up for him. Let him talk.
Well, we're both bears. I kind of forgot he was like her doctor when she was like dying. I'm not forcing him
Yeah.
to relive the painful memories if I can help it. There was a cruel witch who wanted to use me to bring my mother back. He used the royal family as hostages. When we tried to save them, he retaliated and attacked me. Parfait threw herself in front of his blade. She saved me. We killed the witch, but
It didn't matter. I couldn't save Lady Parfait.
I wrap an arm around Chevalier. He deflates beneath my touch. It wasn't your fault, Chev. I look at Senna. Parfait was one of Chevalier's patients. He did everything he could to save her, but the wound was fatal. She told us not to fuss and that she was proud of me for not being like my mother. She died with a smile on her face.
How very like Faye.
Senna runs a hand through his hair. His sigh is soft, fragile.
For so many years, I thought she was weak. That wasn't the case at all, was it? I can't imagine the courage it took for her to hold on to her ideals and morals, even in the end. Lady Parfait was one of the strongest, kindest people I knew. I will be forever grateful I could be one of her friends.
Me too. Parfait believed in me from the beginning. I'll always be grateful for her patience and kindness. Neither she nor Dolor gave up on me. Instead of leaving me to stew in my own anger, they rescued me. It was a drastic solution, perhaps even somewhat heartless, but it forced me to see things I had never had before. Senna angles his head slightly, his eyes trained on the stars above us. Then he smiles.
It appears as if I've got my work cut out for me if I want to measure up to her.
Chevalier straightens.
Senna, you are every bit as inspirational as Lady Parfait. I have no doubts she would be proud of you. You know, Chevalier, you're not so bad. Did you just call me by my name?
Senna turns away with a grumble.
There's no need to get so excited about it, old man.
Even
Hey.
though he's turned away from us, I can see a smile on his face.
See you both tomorrow. Thanks for tonight.
His goodbye is brisk. He disappears through the trees before we